In this video we're going to look at some of the deeper operations in the tree designer. We won't cover the basic operations again because they were mentioned in the getting started video. We're going to start by loading up one of the samples that come with the installation kit. SVG family tree generator. That's loaded the file and it's now available in the tree designer. Most of the samples that are distributed involve images, but the images are only available on the internet, which means you don't see them immediately in the tree designer. You can fix that by going to the file menu, localize images, and what that does is download copies and put them in your working directory so that it's then a mirror of the internet location. If we do that, there might be a slight delay, and there it is, it's downloaded 4 images. And if we go to the progress window, there's information messages there to confirm it. I first want to say something about captions. If we create a blank person, we start typing in the main caption, which is one of the most important properties. You see that it's actually creating a key. The key is a unique identifier for the person. And SVG family tree generator uses keys for persons, families, viewpoints, place keys. There's quite a few instances. You can see that as we're typing here, it's being very selective about which characters it carries across. So it only takes the ones that are valid in a key. You can edit that at any point before you hit the OK. So let's drop the numbers off. And that's created the person, but if we go back in, we'll notice something else as well. It's created a shortened caption based on the long caption as well. The shortened caption would be used if that person ever has a thumbnail image using up part of the available space in the box. Let's just create a second person. And we'll join them with a family circle. You'll notice that for the family, the key is automatically created there too, but this time based on the keys of the current spouses. Let's pick a person that's got a number of properties. So we'll edit this person. Because the person already exists, you can't edit the key now, that's set in stone. You'll notice 4 tabs down there. Biographical notes, tooltips, we haven't got anything there at the moment, but that's plain text that would show when you hover over that person. Program data, which is used by applications, and when you're on that tab, the edit menu will actually give a choice of formats if you want to add or adjust any of that data. And local settings. Certain settings can be applied specifically to a person or a family. These same 4 tabs are available for families and persons. Up in the top right hand corner, that's where you would normally specify an image, but we won't go into great detail here. You first specify the location using a place key. Once you've selected one of those, then you can actually browse that directory, and there we've got the images that we've just downloaded a few moments ago. One more thing here, the named button. This is a full caption and this is a shortened caption, but they are both captions. This is a series of personal names, and although SVG family tree generator doesn't do much with them itself, it can be very useful if you're interfacing to other systems. Oops, hit the wrong button there. So you can put multiple entries in there. The notes are in HTML format, and you can actually look at those. There are a number of buttons to help you edit the data, which we'll come to again in another video. The last one will render it as you will see it in the browser. So in this case we've got a couple of links that we can click on, some formatted text, and an image. Finally, we'll look at these 2 checkboxes, tentative, parentage. All that does is change the nature of the line to a dashed one, and we can see that coming out of there. That's now a dashed line leading to Mary Ashby. The interpretation of that is up to the users, but it's normally if you're not sure of the parentage or it's not a biological connection. Set as root person, that will flag the person in the designer with a thickened border, but in the output, let's just generate the HTML output and view it in the browser. So it actually shows all of the ancestral paths for that person going right up to the top of your tree. The tentative parentage does two things. One thing. It actually makes the line dashed. There's one more important thing to say about that root person, because there is an application that does something similar but more in a more dynamic way. So you can click on any person and get this highlighting of the ancestral paths. But that application looks at the root key and will effectively treat it as a startup person. So that person is not only showing their ancestral paths, but the box will be highlighted and scrolled into view if it's a large tree. If we look at some of the family properties, there are two checkboxes there, liaison and unshown children. Unshown children is fairly obvious. If you haven't put everybody into this particular tree, then it's an indication that there are more. Liaison, again, is up to the interpretation of the user. It's typically used where a family doesn't involve an official marriage, and so you may have non-paternal events using that. In the designer, the liaison has actually coloured the thing grey instead of green, and the striated circle indicates that there are unshown children. It's slightly different in the browser. Just generate the HTML output, view it in the browser. That circle is striated and grey in the browser as well, but it has this dashed descender. And you can see that there are other cases on the same tree. So in conjunction, the striated circle in conjunction with the dashed line that doesn't go anywhere are both an indication of unshown children. And the grey rather than green is the indication of a liaison rather than an official marriage. So there's two further things I want to cover in this video. One is the find person, which you can get from the edit menu or Control F, and we'll use Control F here. That brings up a list of all the captions available in this tree, and what you type in the box will filter that down. There's only one case matching that, and if I click on it, then it will go to that person. If I right click, in this instance we've only got the option of the full tree, but if you're using viewpoints, which you'd be surprised to know it's going to be in a different video, then you've got a choice of which one you want to go to view that person. So we'll just click on it, and it's using the same thickened border that we used with multiple select, and we can get rid of that with the escape. But it will also scroll that person into view if they're not visible. I can demonstrate that by just making this extremely large and putting some of it out of view. Now I know that Thomas Ashby is out of view. There he is. So if I click on him now, you can see him on the left hand side. So it's got the same thickened border and it's now visible. Let's put that back to normal size. The last thing I want to cover is on the view menu there's an auto layout option. Now this tree is already laid out pretty well, but if we select some of these boxes with multiple select, so I'm doing a control click, move them as a group. Now we select a couple of others and move those somewhere else. Just to mess it up a little bit, the auto layout puts it back to pretty much what it was. I'd obviously laid that out quite well. You can revert it if you don't like the layout. You can also give it a hint, because if you've got in-laws and your family in the same tree, it can be next to impossible to unravel it. It's like a cat's cradle, lines crossing over each other. That's where viewpoints really come into their being. But you can give it a hint by putting some of these on the top line, so you order them the way that you would like, and then it lays out the ones below. That's much better. So that's the last thing I want to cover in this video, and we'll leave it there.